everyone, and welcome to another one of our Day One and Beyond Did You Know sessions. In this webinar series, we focus on new features and enhancements of Oracle Cloud infrastructure and discuss how these solutions empower businesses to achieve greater efficiency, security, and scalability. Whether you're a seasoned OCI user or you're just getting started with your cloud journey, you're in the right place to explore what's new. My name is Taylor Zhang from the Oracle Personalized Training team who puts on these Day One and Beyond sessions. And today, I'd like to welcome Mandar Tingsi and Ananta Alawalia as we'll be talking about rethinking what you know about enterprise content.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. Today's topic of content management is one that both Mandar and I are passionate about. In the past 20 plus years, I've implemented complex enterprise content management architectures on premises so that customers can manage and maximize their content with ease.
Hi, and my 25 plus years have been spent helping customers to build their enterprise portals, websites, and enterprise content solutions, of which last 7 plus years has been as WebCenter product manager building a solid content platform.
We hope today's session will help you learn more about managing content efficiently using WebCenter Content on Oracle Cloud. So recent surveys tell us that nearly 45% of small to medium businesses still rely on paper records, and 48% of workers still struggle to find documents quickly. These surveys illustrate two ends of a wide spectrum that represents where companies are on their content management journey, while highlighting the two most common challenges that companies face with document management. At one end of the spectrum, there are companies that lack in digitization and are still managing paper documents. And at the other end of the spectrum, we see the impact of digitization, with workers still struggling with document retrieval complexity. The challenge of digitization is growing exponentially as companies transition their IT infrastructure to the cloud and more content gets generated by AI technologies. And in this session, we will discuss how you can overcome various document management challenges with a unified solution from Oracle called WebCenter Content that delivers enterprise-grade, full-featured document management in Oracle Cloud. So Mandar, document management has been around for decades. Back in the early 2000s, I was involved in many paperless campaigns to save companies nearly 80% of printing costs through the automated delivery of managed content. We are now in the cloud era where companies can take advantage of the on-demand provisioning and pay-as-you-go billing capabilities of the cloud. What's your take on the specific challenges that our customers are facing today?
So the challenges are not all new. What's new is the scale, the volume of documents that are growing at organizations now, and the complexities that organizations have in terms of infrastructure. Like there are applications that are still on-premise, there are applications which are on cloud, so they have kind of hybrid environments which add up to content challenges. So if I have to highlight the content challenges, let me begin with the first one, which is multiple disconnected repositories. Now, organizations have seen or looked at documents as part of processes, and they have addressed these process challenges through ERPs, SaaS, CRM, custom portals, or custom applications. And the documents would reside in the document repositories of these applications. Over time, especially now, these document volumes are growing exponentially, and multiple applications having these document repositories which are growing exponentially are creating a lot of challenges for organizations where they are encountering scalability challenge, performance challenge, cost challenges. And soon the organizations have realized that this was not a right strategy to host their documents. The second one is about finding content in context. This is kind of related to the first one, where document volumes are growing, and that is creating the first hurdle in terms of finding documents quickly. And finding it in context is basically because the documents are now spread across different repositories, application repositories. And so if you want to get these documents in context of an application, that becomes a challenge. To give you an example here, imagine a manager who has to approve an employee expense. And this is the kind of a new, not a normal expense, maybe a award expense for which he wants to look at the HR policy. Now he has to go across into, say, HR portal or HR applications to find that information. And that's the pain that we are talking about.
Yeah, and we've all struggled with not finding the right document at the right time and in the right place. And we've seen how it impacts productivity when documents can't be found in the context of the task at hand.
Exactly. And now, with Gen AI becoming more and more prevalent, organizations are looking forward to take advantage of these capabilities. But a secure, reliable responses have become a challenge. Now, why is it so? So, documents, like I said, are spread across document repositories in these different applications, and most of them are not Gen AI enabled. So, organizations are pulling out these documents from these repositories and hosting them in Gen AI environment. Now, in this process, many a times they are losing out the security and access information because that is very application specific.
Mhm.
And so either the organizations are at risk where the information may land up into wrong hands, or many of these organizations who have realized this risk are just ending up with POCs. And finally, it's about manual workflow. We just talked about in your previous slide that there are still departments and there are still processes which are still manual and not automated, or there are processes which are not completely automated. So they are disconnected. And so to complete these processes, there are manual tasks. So these are, I would say, the challenges that we are seeing.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling that, we're in the cloud era and the problem of information silos, which I experienced back in the 2000s, still lingers.
Yeah, they are still persistent. And so organizations have to look at documents being connected across departments, across applications. They need to understand that there is more value from information when it is getting shared across departments rather than confined to a department. There are some examples over here of different such use cases where different departments and applications needs to work together so that there is more value coming out of these different processes. WebCenter Content, with its secure, scalable, unified repository, can help address this connected requirements that customers need today. And it can help overcome the distributed multi-repository challenges that customers are facing.
Yeah, so, organizations really need to rethink documents as being connected. So let's talk a bit more about the Web Center Content platform and its capabilities in context of the challenges we talked about and how it achieves this connected content.
Yeah, let me start with a block diagram of WebCenter Content. And let me start with the technical side of WebCenter Content. So technically, WebCenter Content provides all the required core services, content services that will help address any kind of content management requirement. It provides APIs so that you can integrate with applications, and finally, it sits on top of Oracle database. Functionally, it helps addressing document management with workflow, digital asset management with workflow, imaging and process management, and all of these documents that gets generated or created into the repositories can be configured as records and scheduled for disposition or retention.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it seems like Web Center Content has really transformed from being an on-premises middleware solution to being a comprehensive content management platform on the cloud. Can you tell us a little bit more about this transformation?
Yeah, let me go deeper into this block diagram. So yeah, Web Center has been evolving. It has been evolving since last 20 years from 10G release to now 14C release. And it's available, like you said, both on premise and on cloud. On cloud, especially on Oracle Cloud, we have got a lot of transformation in the recent releases. So there are three things to highlight here. The first one is the simplification of provisioning and management. So we have made sure that WebCenter content environment, whether it is your clustered production environment, disaster recovery environment, or development environment, it can be very easily provisioned using a wizard-based interface. And on the management side, similar simplification has happened. So there are a lot of tooling provided for the simplification. So there is OCI logging and OCI console available for understanding what's happening inside WebCenter content. And similarly, tools like patch scripts, unified patch script to patch the whole WebCenter environment. Secondly, we have got a lot of OCI services now integrated with WebCenter content so that document management, digital asset management, imaging and process management, and records management is now cloud ready and ready for addressing today's requirements. So to give you an example, we have got WebCenter content integrated with 23 AI database so that we can provide semantic search, conversational search. In fact, a host of Gen AI capabilities out of box through WebCenter content. And thirdly, we have got the integration really to the next level with the REST APIs available, embeddable UI components, and out of box Fusion Apps integration, making it very easy for customers and organizations to implement the connected experience with WebCenter content.
Yeah, it really kind of helps customers realize the idea of connected content. And this product, it's quite a testimonial that it's been around for over 20 years and has had quite a makeover to be cloud ready. So Mandar, let's connect back to the challenges that we spoke of earlier. We talked about multiple disconnected repositories, finding content in the right context, the secure and reliable responses from AI services, and manual workflows. How does Web Center content specifically address these challenges?
Okay, let me connect the dots here and try to address by taking one each challenge and then talk about how WebCenter content is able to address it. So the multiple disconnected repository challenge can be addressed by WebCenter content's capability of scalable, unified repository that can host any amount of documents. The finding documents in context can be addressed with the pluggable capability that WebCenter content brings in so that it can become part of any application experience and thus becoming part of a transaction and helps the user to find information or ingest information in the context of the transaction. Thirdly, WebCenter content has Gen AI intrinsic capability. And so the responses that are delivered as part of Gen AI responses are adhering to the security and access information defined inside WebCenter content. And finally, for manual workflow and disconnected processes, WebCenter content provides complete end-to-end process automation capability and helps customers and organizations to deliver a paperless process or stitch in a disconnected process.
Yes, and now you can go fully paperless.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so hey, let's double click on each of these and share a bit more about how our audience can take advantage of these features.
Sure. So let me go one by one and revisit some of the challenges and then talk about solution from WebCenter content side. So the first one is multiple disconnected repositories. So like I said, organizations have got document volumes which are growing exponentially these days, and they have multiple such repositories and multiple applications with these repositories. And so they are facing these huge growth, and so there are scalability challenge, performance challenge, and cost challenges. WebCenter content with its unified, secure content repository that can manage unlimited number of documents can address this unified repository requirements from customers. And it can address it in a very cost-effective manner, especially on Oracle Cloud now. We support object storage, archive storage, making it really very cost-effective.
Hmm. So it seems that, like, if you're someone who wants to set up a cost-effective DR solution in the cloud, this ability of Web Center content to scale without limitations can be very impactful, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So, we talked about how the sheer volume of documents we are dealing with today makes it a real challenge to find content. And when that content spans across multiple applications, it's difficult to find it within the right context. And one thing we can all agree on is that, content is meaningful only if it's available within the context of the task at hand. So, how is Web Center content addressing this?
Yeah, so the scalable repository helps it to be planned to be an enterprise repository. But for it to be really an enterprise repository, it needs to become part of application so that you can get content in context of this application. And here the pluggable capability of Web Center content becomes really useful, and it can become part of any application experience or interface and help to either capture the document or interface the document in context of the transaction. And that becomes really very useful for customers. The pluggable capability also helps in building custom apps using, say, Apex and VBCS and any other platform that the customers might be comfortable with.
So you can really build a kind of new experiences through the through content centric applications with Apex and Web Center content. Another challenge we talked about was the security and reliability of responses from Gen AI solutions. Like, how are we addressing that?
Yeah, so Web Center content takes advantage of underlying Oracle database 23 AI to deliver semantic search, conversational search, and a lot of Gen AI services, including now the recently released AI agents. And so you can actually get all of these responses in a secure manner because it is in line with the configurations and security settings that are defined in Web Center content. This also helps in providing a great employee experience, which is very configurable using prompts and provided in AI agents.
That's great. So it really can help organizations improve employee productivity through AI environments. And we also discussed the challenge of manual workflows leading to inefficiency. So how are we addressing that?
So yeah, it's about both workflows, which might be because of paper-based processes
Mhm.
or workflows which are disconnected, which are not completely automated. So Web Center content brings in all key capabilities to automate such processes. So right from sourcing documents from scanners, emails, file system, to helping extract information from these documents and then getting workflows triggered. And finally, the data after approval can be pushed into application transactions. So it has all the capabilities to kind of make paperless processes as well as disconnected process. So disconnected process, if I have to give an example here, can be of contracts management process where
Mhm.
the suppliers, because they are large in number, are not part of your ERP. So the contracts process runs in your ERP, but without the suppliers. And so it is done offline. Now here, Web Center content can become the glue and can actually get your suppliers in becoming part of your end-to-end process and automate it completely.
Yeah, so you can really integrate with any application to meet business needs, right?
Yeah.
And it's really good to see how far along Web Center content has come and how it continues to content enable the enterprise even on the cloud. But Mandar, as they say, seeing is believing. So can you show us, for example, how Web Center content is using AI technologies to make it easier for our customers to find content in the right context?
Yep, let me take you through a small demo scenario here. So I'm going to show three things in this demo. The first one is about how Apex and WebCenter Content can come together for building a custom app, a content custom app. And then secondly, I want to highlight how Gen AI can help improve user productivity, as well as how the Gen AI responses are all secure by nature when it comes out of WebCenter Content. And thirdly, how document which has been created inside this Apex and WebCenter Content app is used inside Fusion App Sales module, because the repository is kind of shared and thus helping reusability and the connected experience that we are talking about.
Awesome. Let's take a look.
Yeah, so let me take you through this demo. So this is a RFP app scenario. So this is about creating RFP response. So sales guy gets an RFP and he is kind of collaboratively working together to create an RFP response. So it starts with the email from a customer that the salesperson has received, and he's ingesting it into the WebCenter content repository using the Outlook plugin. And then he goes into the WebCenter Content RFP app to kind of create a request to create a RFP response. And that triggers notifications to technical architect, finance persons to work on their sections and upload their section documents. And sales rep then kind of merges them all the section documents to create a RFP response document. Now, for each of these users, there are some additional help that is provided by the app, taking advantage of the Gen AI capability and make them more and more productive. So let me show you what is happening with this app. So here there is a email that has been received by the salesperson, and this is the RFP that he has received. So he is then ingesting it through the Outlook plugin into WebCenter content repository. He is then signing on into the RFP app. Now here, I don't know if you have noticed, the IAM sign-on login is being used, which means it's the standard OCI IAM login, which is also used by WebCenter Content. So it means that now the Apex app, when it gives any of the REST API calls, it is in single sign-on with WebCenter Content. So all of the security that is defined inside WebCenter Content gets applied when these calls are happening. So the salesperson has now gone into the RFP app. He's selected the new response request, and he's now selecting the RFP that was ingested from the email. And before he goes further, he decides to look at the RFP because he has not read it. So he wants to quickly understand what's in the RFP. So he now asks the question. So he has a chat with the RFP document to find out what's been asked, and he gets a quick summary out of it. So now he has a complete view without really requiring to go through the whole document. He then decides to populate the form, again taking the help of the underlying Gen AI capability. So he's then picking up and verifying whether the information is right, and then he goes to the next step, which is about selecting the sections. Now here too, he gets the appropriate instruction on what the RFP response should consist of, and this is from the RFP document. And so here this time, because there is some reference requirement as, he is also selecting all other section to be included in the RFP response. Once submitted, the workflow gets triggered, and so everything becomes in review state. And the technical architect now gets into action. So he has got a notification to upload his section. But before he does that, he goes into the Gen AI module to see what can he reuse from the previous submissions that folks have done. So what he does is he basically does a search, and let me show you the search. So the first step is to do a semantic search to find all the documents that are closely connected or related to such a project. And so he gets two documents. So now he has to decide which one is more appropriate. So he does a conversation on both the documents and tries to see which one is more appropriate. he sees both the document quite relevant and useful, so he decides to have a summary out of both of these documents. And so he does a AI chat on top of it to do a summarization on both of the documents at the same time. So he gets a response now. And because there is one more question in the RFP, he asks for that as well. And now he is satisfied with the response. So he can now use this response in the RFP response document, like his section that he is working on. So he copies that and creates his technical section document very quickly, getting help from the underlying Gen AI response. The salesperson has the reference requirement to be fulfilled. So he is now basically sharing the O365 link to the person to kind of fill the reference informations, and so he updates this. So this is the O365 update happening, and that helps the salesperson to get all the relevant information. So the salesperson now goes into merging the documents. So he selects the sequence in which these document needs to go, and then become part of the document. So he merges them and gives the appropriate title. And so all of the documents now become part of one response document, which is now ready to share it to customer. But before he shares, he can verify whether the sections have gone all rightly. And so we can scroll and look at them. So the technical sections have come, and all the others as well. So he is now, before he sends, he creates an opportunity in Fusion App Sales module. And here we are basically trying to show how the documents that were generated as part of the RFP app is getting used here. So now the salesperson is going into the FA sales opportunity module and creating an opportunity there. He puts the same title as the RFP request and selects the customer and creates his opportunity. He now associates the document that were created as part of the RFP app. So he's now getting into the repository here. The same WebCenter content UI has been integrated. And so he's now able to search and select the documents that were created in the RFP app and attach them to the opportunity. So basically this gets into in context, and now he's also able to chat and see whether the pricing information is provided. Now here he or his management chain can actually have a quick view about the document by having a chat, so that they don't really have to go through the complete document. So this is the connected experience that we have been talking about, and there are like many things that we have shown through this demo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really exciting to see the evolution of WebCenter content. Mandar, thank you so much. As we bring this session to a close, what steps do you recommend for customers who, as we've seen, are at different stages of their content management journey?
So customers can be at any stage, and they can surely get into WebCenter content implementations, because it will only help them to get their content maturity to the next level. So the way they can start is to find out what is the gap or a requirement that they already know about, and then address it with WebCenter content, and then grow from there, where they can add further use cases. And we are happy to work with anyone and everyone here, and see and tailor your solution based on your requirement, and make it really enterprise-wide content solution.
Yeah, we hope that this webinar helps you move forward in your journey to managing enterprise content. And if you would like to learn more, please reach out to us and do join us for upcoming in-depth sessions. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.